One of the things we're talking about today in our scripture of let it go is letting God have control of our lives. And so Cherrie's going to come and share a time when she let go of her control and let God have control.
As Reverend Sid said, he's going to be talking about trusting in the Lord after letting go. To set the stage, I'm going to tell you a story of what can happen if and when you do decide to trust in the Lord. In 1985, my parents were living in Raytown and were active members of Countryside United Methodist Church. During 1 week in April, my mother had a massive heart attack, open heart surgery, and died totally unexpectedly. My sister, brother, and I came here from New Hampshire to be with our parents during that awful week. During that week, we received wonderful support from Reverend Jim Fleming and the Countryside congregation. Reverend Jim presided at Mom's memorial service. Then we all went back home, and each one of us wrote Jim a thank you note, just like Jimmy Fallon. After a couple of months went by, Jim wrote me a note asking me how I was doing. Dad had told him that I was in the process of getting a divorce, and he knew my mother had just died. I answered his note, taking note of how very nice he seemed. The next year, Jim asked me to marry him. Obviously, a lot more went on during this time that I won't elaborate on now. My answer was no. I loved my life in New Hampshire. I had a good job, wonderful support system, and family and friends, and my daughter and I were active in our church. I simply wanted to remain there and finish raising my daughter alone. Jim did not give up, however, and periodically kept asking me to marry him. My answer remained the same: no. During this time, I was doing much soul searching and praying, and noticed that I was getting a very strong feeling that maybe I should marry Jim and start over. Finally, I said to God, okay, I get the message. I will marry Jim. I will trust and obey. But oh, do I need help, God. So I informed family and friends that I was moving 1,500 miles away to marry a United Methodist pastor 17 years older than me. I know they thought I was crazy and had finally lost it. And all I could say was, I know it's the right thing to do. Well, I did do just that. I moved to Missouri from New Hampshire. I married Reverend Jim. I reestablished myself professionally and brought my daughter here. And we did live happily ever after. It really happens. Laurie gained a wonderful stepfather, and Jim and I enjoyed almost 25 beautiful years together, all because I trusted in the Lord. So do listen for the Lord's voice in your life, but be ready for adventure when you trust and obey.